Hey guys, Elisa Mousy here, and welcome back to another Dragon Age Origins Codex video. Because we picked up quite a few things in Denerim. So let's start with quest-related. A rolled up note. I don't know if that's new or not, so let's go for it, I guess. I hope whoever finds this can read it. I hate the thought that my last words might be used as kindling or make or forbid to wipe someone's bum, but that's happenstance for you, I suppose. My name is Brannon. I was born in Rainsfair. I grew apples once upon a time. When the Orlesians came to demand I bow to their emperor, I turned them away. They set fire to my orchards. To my house, too, but I didn't care. I stood and watched them burn. Trees die eventually. Houses fall, but my honor can be lost only if I let it. They came back a week later and demanded that I swear an oath. This time, when I refused, they clapped me in irons. Now I'm here, and I'll die in this place. It seems a foolish thing to die for, doesn't it? I could have said a few words and rebuilt my home, gone on with my life as if nothing had changed. 100 generations of my family have lived and died on that land, and I won't be the one to trade our family honor for apples. Whoever you are, whatever they've brought you here for, if you leave this place, I hope you'll go to Rainsfair. There's no living remnant of us left there, but you'll find my family all the same. We're stamped onto the earth. We're in the wind that rustles the trees. Tell my family how I died, and I promise you they'll hear. Okay. Summoning sciences. Apprentices are allowed and expected to willfully direct a minor spirit, provided it is within the protective confines of the library. Placement of the shelves allows for passive immobilization and the emergency purging of any rogue entity. Take care, this exercise is not to be enacted during maintenance or other disruption of library structure. The danger presented by an incorrect summoning, particular exercise 3, is extreme. This book has been torn in half. Second half of a torn book. The summoning sigil will ignite upon ritual initiation. If the order is incorrect, the ritual will reset. Exercise 1. Address the summoning font. Select the second passage from the Tome of Spirit Personages, second shelf. Place open hands through the first summoning flames. See First Flames. Or select First Flames. Exercise 2. Address the summoning font. Recite the Rotorcom's Uncommon Calling, first column support shelves. Place 1 silver coin at the feet of the statue of Magus Gorvish. Pass open hands through the second summoning flames. Exercise 3. Alert Senior Magi of lesson commencement. Address the summoning font. Recite the second passage of Elverin's Grand Bestiary, sealed text, third area. Trace the chosen sigil on the first area common table. Place a lock of hair between the pages of the Spiritorum Etherealis, right of the sealed text. Perform Callum's gesture, 2 fingers, at the statue of Magus Gorvish. Breathe on the dried hemlock in the novice phylactery, second column support shelves. Pass open hands through the third summoning flames. Okay, that's the thing that we couldn't do in the circle because, what do you call it? They'll come to me. Because, of all the demons. Some letter of condolences. My dear lady, it is with great regret that I must inform you of the death of your husband. He died as he lived, with the greatest honor, completing a task of vital importance to the guild. Rest assured that we will take vengeance on those responsible for his death. Please accept my condolences for your loss. Raelner Hawkwind. This letter is marked with the seal of the Blackstone Irregulars. The Scrolls of Banastor. To align with the power of the Fade is but the first of many steps. Further is to align them with the Fade's rules and find the ties between the realms of dreams and the realm of flesh. This is the true power of blood magic. The flesh and the mind are inseparable, and therein lies the power to influence and control minds. Below the text are indecipherable runes and stains of blood and ink. Others may speak of the sanctity of the mind. To those who know the true power of the blood, this is foolishness. The mind is no more sacred than the knee, the small toe, or the ear. It is man's organ of reasoning, nothing more. And true reasoning requires connection to the rhythm of the blood, the tireless pounding of life. Interrupt this, and even the mind is yours to control. Below the text is a diagram of a blood magic ritual in progress with no notation or description. 5 pages, 4 mages. Ooh, that rhymes. Tom Deus v Eternus. In Malefictorum, Dragos That's not English. Speak ye the words and brought life. Speak ye the words ascension. Answers lion, text illegible. Notes on the page below. Here I begin my study, knowing full well it will change the circle forever. Let history mark the date that this work began, 929 Dragon, so that when new calendars are put to paper, the date fonts 00 is known with certainty. From the mouths of gods, finally to the people through me, Enchanter Fonst. Okay, so that says the same thing. 479 sovereigns plus favors. Immortality worth every coin. Words of creation, proof of maker. No one must know until the translations are complete. I'll have first enchanter, the ear of kings. I will own kings, glory everlasting. Same thing there again. I think this section is repeating, so then... Notes on a wondrous discovery. A strange script. Uniform by steady hand. Yes, one would expect an agent of the Maker to be steady. In fact, it follows all my expectations of the words the Maker would bestow. It is perfect, and once translated, I will have such fun lording this over the chantry. Worth every bit. Enchanter Gaius. Maker take the vendor, a copy, a fake. Why didn't I see? It was obvious. Spake. Laughing stock, no one must know. Bea Jom, I'll find him, I'll kill him. The words elude me, but I will defy their obstinateness. Worked by the old gods or the Maker himself, I will wring their secrets into my hands. I need the essence of the powerful and the pure, and so begins a bloody road, but at the end, godhood, the keys to the Black City. Enchanter Ronus. Well, that's not good. Watchguard of the Reaching. I'm telling you guys, it's a test like the summoning. Why else would lessons be cancelled? In that outburst in the library with Uldred, an older tome fell to a page on the Reaching. I copied what I could before they pushed us out. Ritual note. A sword lowered to strike through and ground. There we go. You can't tell me I wasn't supposed to see that. It's too convenient. I'm looking for more and you'd be smart to help. Gant. No, 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 and stop asking. I'm not getting in trouble because of you again. I don't care what's in the basement, and neither do the senior magi. Everything is about Uldred and the upper floors. I don't know what you're digging up, but those tomes are way older than our lesson texts. An apprentice shouldn't touch them. Ritual note. The threads burned before giant, spear raised. He stands alone, so whispers are known false. Nolan. Scribbled in corner, don't need him. Owain knew, reaching. First Enchanter Dorval fell to a sudden disease of the lungs. This unfortunate disruption in the direct line of descent from tower founding should be treated as opportunity. The Circle will reform practices to better address the times. Many rituals remain valuable, but some, the Two Bells, Garnold's Lament, Watchguard of the Reaching, Benford Da, have little or no meaning in our texts. We will move forward, as Dorval would have wished, and commit these and other ceremonies to the age we have left. With no plan of estate, his belongings have been transferred to the common library for the benefit of all. Excerpt, Circle of Magi Declaration, Kinloch Hold Transitional, 590 Exalted. Scribbled in corner, reaching again, and old, they don't know, idiots, wards weaken. Today we passed even further, far beyond any reach of man. The inverted glow of the Black City was always on the horizon of perception, but a path eludes as always. Untraveled in memory, living or otherwise, there is a pull, and whispers abound. Something great is there, and away from this, always in peripheral, another mind untethered. Tomorrow I will reach out with my full attention and try to rescue him from his listing. Can someone else have come this far? The wonders will share. Ritual note. The vessel in hand, words from another time drip literal power. Documents of the Reaching, estimated 2nd century ancient. First Enchanter appointed Watchguard of the Reaching to be held in secret. Scribbled in corner. Reaching before the circle. Someone else in the fade, I want this. His silver cord transmuted black. Black. There is no wonder his form shattered. What returned was not the mortal nor native fade. Of the mortal nor native fade. Does an afterthought prove the gods when direct action is long missing? There is no purpose to this beast. Let the strength of the tower wither and memory pass. The only legacy to be taught. Stay focused within the fade. Whims escape to their own action. Ritual note. A sword raised to sever connection. Documents of the Reaching, estimated 2nd century ancient. First enchanter appointed watchguard of the Reaching to be held in secret. Cord, peasant magic. Must know, can almost see, whispers want. Hastily scribbled. Whisper says Great Hall, hidden above us the whole time. The vessel in hand, words from another time drip literal power. Put on bowl. A sword raised to sever connection, cord cut. A sword lowered to strike through the ground, bile. The threads placed before warrior, spear raised. Shielded from each side so whispers are known false. Where is this? It whispered order, but not where. It's in my head. Okay. Items. The Magister's Shield. On the very day that the final stone was set into place in the Grand Cathedral of Orlais, Archon Vespasian was assassinated. For 3 days, every Magister Lord of the Imperium lived behind a wall of armored guards. When his successor, Hadarius, was finally named Archon, the first enchanter of the Circle of Minrathous presented him with a gift, a silvery, unadorned chain made from pure lyrium. Enchantments had been worked into the links of the chain so that donning the necklace was like holding up a shield. Blows struck at the wearer, glanced harmlessly away. Unfortunately, Hadarius found that the shield did not protect him against poison nearly so well. Welp. Magic and religion, what do we got? The A&R. That's probably not how you say it, but that's all I got. When the Imperium occupied the area that is present-day Ferelden, they had 2 sites dedicated to magical experimentation at the extreme ends of the Imperial Highway. The southern one was the Fortress of Ostagar, which looked out over the Korkari wilds. The northern one was A&R, though the exact location is now a secret known only to a handful of Templars. Whatever it was the Tevinter were trying to discover at A&R, their work was never completed. The fortress was overrun by disciples of Andraste upon hearing the news of her death. According to legend, it was a massacre, eerily silent, for the invaders caught the mages while all but one of them were in the Fade. The site was left structurally sound but spiritually damaged. Possibly because of this, the Chantry chose to put it to use as a prison. Accused Maleficarum and apostates are held in the confines of A&R. Those who have a powerful connection to the Fade, and particularly to demons, will inevitably attract something across the veil, making the guilty somewhat easier to tell from the innocent. From Fire, Circles, and Templars, A History of Magic in the Chantry by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. And we have Chantry Hierarchy. The Divine is the titular head of the Chantry, although since the schism split the Imperial Chantry into its own faction, there are now in fact 2 Divines at any one time. One Divine, informally called the White Divine, is a woman housed in the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux. The other, known as the Black Divine, is a man housed in the Argent Spire in Minrathous. Neither Divine recognizes the existence of the other, and the informal names are considered sacrilegious. No matter the gender, a Divine is addressed as Most Holy or Your Perfection. Beneath the rank of Divine is the Grand Cleric. Each Grand Cleric presides over numerous chantries and represents the highest religious authority for their region. They travel to Val Royeaux when the College of Clerics convenes, but otherwise remain where they are assigned. All Grand Clerics are addressed as Your Grace. Beneath a Grand Cleric is the Mother, or in Imperial Chantry, the Father. If a mother is in charge of a particular chantry, revered is appended to her title. These are the priests responsible for administering the spiritual well-being of their flock. A mother or revered mother is addressed as Your Reverence. Brothers and sisters form the rank and file of the chantry, and consist of 3 main groups: affirmed, initiates, and clerics. Affirmed are the lay brethren of the chantry, those regular folk who have turned to the chantry for succor. Often they are people who have led a difficult or irreligious life and have chosen to go into seclusion, and even orphans and similar unfortunates who were raised into the chantry life. The affirmed take care of the chantry and are in turn afforded the life of quiet contemplation, no questions asked. Only those folks who take vows become initiates. These are men and women in training, whether in academic knowledge or martial skills of a warrior. All initiates receive an academic education, although only those who seek to become Templars learn how to fight in addition. Clerics are the true academics of the chantry, those men and women who have dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge. They are often found in chantry archives, sages presiding over the libraries of books and arcane knowledge. The most senior of these clerics, placed in charge of such archives, are given the title Elder, although such a rank is still beneath that of Mother. All other brothers and sisters are addressed simply by noting their title before their name, such as Brother Genitivi, from a Guide of Ambassadors from Ravane. Culture and History. Denerim! When anyone in Ferelden speaks of going to the city, they inevitably mean Denerim. There is no other place in the kingdom which rivals it, not in size, population, wealth, or importance. It is the seat of the Theron family, the capital of Ferelden, and the largest seaport, and by ancient tradition, the meeting place of the Landsmeet. As well, Denerim was the birthplace of Andraste. One of them anyway, as several other sites claim to have been the prophet's early home, including Jader in Orlais. Yader? I don't know. The chantry takes no stance on which site's claim is valid, but it is well known that Andraste was Ferelden by birth. When visiting the pilgrimage site in Denerim, it is inadvisable to mention Yader at all. The site rests at the foot of Dragon's Peak, or the city rests at the foot of Dragon's Peak, a solitary mountain scarred by ancient lava flows. During Andraste's lifetime, it reputedly filled the sky with a great column of black ash and sent burning rock raining down as far as the Free Marches, but it is now considered extinct. Some believe it merely sleeps and will again darken the sky with ash and fire when the last Ferelden king dies, but this is highly unlikely. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. Dragon cults. Let us suggest for a moment that a high dragon is simply an animal. A cunning animal, to be sure, but in possession of no true self-awareness or sentience. There has not, after all, been a single recorded case of a dragon attempting to communicate or performing any act that could not likewise be attributed to a clever beast. How then does one explain the existence of so-called dragon cults throughout history? One dragon cult might be explainable, especially in light of the reverence of the old gods in the ancient Tevinter Imperium. In the wake of the First Blight, many desperate imperial citizens turned to the worship of real dragons to replace the old gods who had failed them. A dragon, after all, was a god figure that they could see. It was there, as real as the archdemon itself, and, as evidence makes clear, did offer a degree of protection to its cultists. Other dragon cults could be explained in light of the first. Some cult members might have survived and spread the word. The worship of the old gods was as widespread as the Imperium itself. Certainly, such secrets could have made their way into many hands. But there have been reports of dragon cults even in places where the Imperium never touched, among folks who had never heard of the old gods or had any reason to. How does one explain them? Members of a dragon cult live in the same lair as a high dragon, nurturing and protecting its defenseless young. In exchange, the high dragons seem to permit those cultists... Sorry, the grammar threw me off. To kill a small number of those young in order to feast on draconic blood. That blood is said to have a number of strange long-term effects, including bestowing greater strength and endurance, as well as increased desire to kill. It may breed insanity as well. Navaran dragon hunters have said these cultists are incredibly powerful opponents. The changes in the cultists are a form of blood magic, surely, but how did the symbiotic relationship between the cult and the high dragon form in the first place? How did the cultists know to drink the dragon's blood? How did the high dragon convince them to care for its young, or know that they would? Is there more to draconic intelligence than we have heretofore guessed? No member of a dragon cult has ever been taken alive, and what accounts exist from the days of the Navaran hunters record only mad rants and impossible tales of godhood. With dragons only recently reappearing and still incredibly rare, we may never know the truth, but the question remains. From Flame and Scale by Brother Florian, Chantry Scholar, 928 Dragon. Politics of Ferelden. To our neighbors, Ferelden seems utterly chaotic. We are a savage land that smells like dogs. Unlike other monarchies, power does not descend from our throne. Rather, it rises from the support of the freeholders. Each freehold chooses the ban or Arl whom it pays allegiance. Typically, this choice is based on proximity of the freehold to the lord's castle, as it's worthless to pay for the upkeep of soldiers who will arrive at your land too late to defend it. For the most part, each generation of freeholders casts its lot with the same ban as their fathers did. But things can and do change. No formal oaths are sworn, and it is not unheard of, especially in the prickly central Banorn, for bands to court freeholders away from their neighbors, a practice which inevitably begets feuds that last for ages. Tairns arose from amongst the bands, war leaders who, in antiquity, had grown powerful enough to move other bands and swear fealty to them. There were many Tairns in the days before King Calenhad, but he succeeded in whittling them down to only 2. Gwarin in the south, Highever in the north. These Tairns still hold the oaths of bands and Arls, who they may call upon in the events of war or disaster. And similarly, the Tairns still hold responsibility for defending those sworn to him. The Arls were established by the Tairns, given command in strategic fortresses that could not be overseen by the Tairns themselves. Unlike the Tairns, the Arls have no bands sworn to them, and they are simply somewhat more prestigious bands. The king is, in essence, the most powerful of the Tairns. Although Denerim was originally the Tairnir, that's a new word, of the king, it's similar to Banorn, I guess, or Arling. It has been reduced to an Arling, as the king's domain is now all of Ferelden, but even the king's power must come from the bands. Nowhere is this more evident than during the Landsmeet, an annual council for which all the nobles of Ferelden gather, held for almost 3,000 years except odd interruptions during blights and invasions. The sight of a king asking for and working to win support of lesser men is a source of constant wonder to foreign ambassadors. From Ferelden Folklore and History by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. Navarra. The 4th time I attempted to cross the border into Navarra from Orlais and was turned back by Chevaliers, I decided to take the more roundabout path, a ship back to Ferelden and then another to Navarra. The outcome was more than worth the trouble. The whole country is filled with artistry, from the statues of heroes that litter the streets in even the meanest villages to the glittering golden College of Magi in Cumberland. Perhaps nowhere is more astonishing than the vast necropolis outside Navarra City. Unlike most other followers of Andraste, the Navarrans do not burn their dead. Instead, they carefully preserve the bodies and seal them in elaborate tombs. Some of the wealthiest Navarrans begin construction of their own tombs while quite young, and these become incredible palaces, complete with gardens, bathhouses, and ballrooms, utterly silent, kept only for the dead. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. The Orlesian Empire. Finally learning more about Orlais. There are many lords and ladies in Val Royeaux. And this I mean literally. Once the system of noble titles in Orlais was labyrinthian. There were barons and barons and baronets and sir barons and a horde of others, each with its own origin and its own nuances of comparison. The Orlesian aristocracy is ancient and much given to competition. All the nobility play the grand game, and it is known whether they wish to or not. It is a game of reputation and patronage, where moves are made with rumors and scandal, and scandal is the chief weapon. No gentle game, this. More blood has been drawn as a result of the grand game than any war the Orlesians have fought. Of this I am assured by almost every gentleman here. That sounds like an exaggeration slightly, because war. Unless they mean more collectively than any single war. Maybe. We need to learn more about Orlais. I don't want to learn more about Orlais because it's Orlais, but As far as titles went, everything changed with the coming of Emperor Dracon, who established the Orlesian Empire as it exists now, and who created the Chantry. There is no more venerated figure in Orlais. In Val Royeaux, the statue of Dracon stands as tall as the statue of Andraste. Dracon determined that the Grand Game was tearing Orlais apart, so he abolished all titles beside his own and Lord and Lady. I am told with some twittering amusement that this action did not end the Grand Game as Dracon had intended. Now the lords and ladies collected unofficial titles rather than official ones, such as the Exalted Patron of Tassus Clay or Uncle to the Champion of Trems. It is a headache to remember such titles, and one winces to think of the poor doormen at the balls who must rattle them off as each guest enters the room. The aristocracy is different from Ferelden in other ways as well. The Orlesians' right to rule stems directly from the Maker. There exists neither the concept of rule by merit nor the slightest notion of rebellion. If one is not noble, one aspires to be, or at the least aspires to be in the good graces of a noble, and is ever watching for a way to enter the patronage of those better placed in the Grand Game. And then there are the masks, and the cosmetics. I have not seen so much paint since the kennels in Highever, but that is another story. From Beyond the Frostbacks by Ban Teoric of West Hill, 920 Dragon. What year in the Dragon Age are we in? Do we know that? No, we did that. We were trying to get to the Qunari. Anyone who travels far enough to the north will eventually encounter the Qunari. White-haired, bronze-skinned giants, a head again taller than a man, with frighteningly calm demeanors and a sort of sparkling fire behind their eyes. For quite a long time, people believed that all Qunari were male, or that their men and women were simply indistinguishable. It was not until the Blessed Age that diplomats from Rivain were allowed, however briefly, to visit Parvolin, and there they discovered that Qunari females do exist in abundance and are quite easily recognized. The Rivain say that Qunari have a certain kindness to them, or at least a conspicuous lack of cruelty, although I did not observe the creatures closely enough to evaluate their character. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Clearly you don't know what they do to their mages, then. Rivain. Nowhere in my travels, not in the heart of the Imperium, nor the streets of Orzammar, have I felt so much an outsider as in Rivain. The chant of light never truly reached the ears of these people. The years they spent under the thumb of the Qunari left most of the country zealous followers of the Qun. But resistance to the chant goes deeper than the Qunari War. The Rivain refuse to be parted from their seers, wise women who are in fact hedge mages, communicating with spirits, and actually allowing themselves to become possessed. The chantry prohibition against such magical practices violates millennia of local tradition. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Geography of Thedas! Sorry, that came out sounding weird, I'm sorry. Thedas is bounded to the east by the Amaranthine Ocean, or Amaranthine. I'm assuming that's kind of like a word, like, along the lines of following boundary. To the west, by Tirashan Forest and the Hunterhorn Mountains, to the south by the snowy wastes that lie beyond the Ornkey Mountains, and to the north by Donark Forest. The word Thedas is Tevinter in origin, originally used to refer to lands that bordered the Imperium. As the Imperium lost its stranglehold on conquered nations, more and more lands became Thedas, until finally people applied the name to the entire continent. The northern part of Thedas is divided amongst the Enderfels, the Tevinter Imperium, Antiva, and Rivain, with the islands held by the Qunari just off the coast. Central Thedas consists of the Free Marches, Navarra, Orlais, with Ferelden to the south. What lies beyond the snowy wastes is a mystery. The freezing temperatures and barren land have kept even the most intrepid cartographers at bay. Similarly, the western reaches of the Anderfels have never been fully explored, even by the Anders themselves. We do not know if the dry steppes are shadowed by mountains or if they extend all the way to a nameless sea. There must be other lands, continents or islands perhaps, across the Amaranthine or north of Parvolan, for the Kunari arrived in Thetis from somewhere, but beyond that deduction we know nothing. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. We'll get the character information, and then I should probably stop, because well, you've heard. Nothing new for Alistair, really? Even after all the stuff with Goldana? Brother Ferdinand Genetivi. And it is the duty of all true sons of the Chantry to make the chant heard from every corner of the world, and I make it my mission to find as many corners of the world as possible. The Maker can hardly expect us to do one without the other. Excerpt from In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. How big is this book? I want a copy of this book. Brother Genetivi is one of the Chantry's most well-known scholars, primarily on the basis of the stories he has published, which many of his contemporaries dismiss as fanciful, of his travels across the length and breadth of Thetis. His travels, in rather too curious nature, led him to a study of folklore, which gave him the notion that he could track down that most debated of all artifacts, the Urn of Sacred Ashes. He announced that he had found what appeared to be the trail of the urn, left in the legends of the regions through which it had passed from Minrathous on its way into hiding. And that's it for all of the Codex stuff. We will get to the books and songs and notes info. Actually, I want to see, are the notes important? Yes, notes are actually important. Okay. But before I go, I do want to drop one little fun fact. Thetis is an acronym. The world of Dragon Age is set in a place that is an acronym for the Dragon Age setting. And I'll leave you with that. If you liked what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Maybe tap that notification bell to get notified every time I upload. See you on the flip side. Elisa out.